Hello Whovians and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I review Terminus, which is the 126th Doctor Who story, and it is also Nyssa's final story. Nyssa, we say goodbye to Nyssa in this story. And the story was written by Steve Gallagher, directed by Mary Ridge, and of course produced by John Nathan Turner. And it's the fourth serial in season 20 of Doctor Who. So the basic plot of Terminus is as follows. Still under the influence of the Black Guardian, Turlo sabotages the TARDIS, placing the Doctor and his companions in grave danger. Nyssa disappears through an unstable interface with a nearby space liner, and the Doctor begins a desperate search for her aboard the ship. When the liner docks at Terminus, a space station at the exact centre of the universe, the horrific truth starts to emerge. It may be already too late to save Nyssa's life, and the existence of the entire cosmos is now at peril. So there we go, that's the basic premise of Terminus. Terminus, well, this is a pretty good story. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a very solid story. It is certainly a bit darker than some of the previous stories. It certainly is a bit more serious than some of the previous stories. It sort of has it kind of reminded me a bit of The Visitation in a way. It's sort of a bit kind of like that in terms of like there's this plague as such. Well, it's not really a plague, but everybody in this story has leprosy. I don't think it's a perfect story, but I enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as the previous story, but it'll do. First of all, let's get into Nyssa's exit. I think Nyssa had a pretty good exit. It's nothing amazing, but Nyssa has been a good companion. I really liked Nyssa. Sarah Sutton plays her very well, and she's been in quite a number of stories. She actually began at the end of Tom Baker's era, and she's obviously from the planet Traken, but now in the end of the story, she decides to basically stay and help everyone distribute the cure for this, for leprosy, and cure everybody around the world and whatnot, and stop the Terminus Corporation from retaliating. So she stays to make a difference, which is really interesting. And the last scene with her, the Doctor and Tegan, is very nice. It's very sweet. It's a little bit heartbreaking for Tegan. I mean, Tegan and Nyssa have become best friends, so they do shed some tears, and the Doctor and Nyssa give each other a little kiss on the cheek, which is really nice. It's a very tender moment, and it's a short goodbye, but it's a nice goodbye nonetheless. And I mean, she has more of an exit than fucking Romana and K9 and even Leela did. So yeah, I like Nyssa's exit. It makes sense. And yeah, goodbye Sarah Sutton. You know, she did a great job. The story itself, I think, is very interesting. It's very intense. There are some suspenseful moments in here. The lighting is very dark for this story, and I guess appropriately so. It was meant to come across more like a horror story, and I think it achieves that very well. For me, the problems of the story lie, I think, in the supporting cast. A lot of them, I don't care for them very much. I think a lot of them are very similar in terms of characters, and if you were to ask me which one's my favourite, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you, because they all look very similar to me, and I don't really care when they're on screen. I find some of their scenes to be a bit dull. So yeah, I think they could have made more interesting supporting characters, and there's too many of them. There's too many side characters. I know half of them are there to die anyway because of the leprosy, but it would have been nice just to have some more three-dimensional characters. I like the return of the Black Guardian in this story. He's very good, and obviously the story ends with him taunting Turlo even more. So he's this is the second part of the Black Guardian trilogy, and of course the next one is the final part, Enlightenment. So we'll see we'll see how that transpires. But the beginning of the story kind of focuses on Turlo and his turmoil, but then it sort of switches over to Nyssa because it is her exit story. And so Tegan and Turlo do kind of get sidelined in this story. They kind of spend most of the time in the ventilation shafts, so they didn't feel very integrated into the story. It would have been nice for all of the TARDIS crew to kind of be on the journey together. So I think that was kind of a missed opportunity there. I know we're going to be seeing a lot more of Turlo and Tegan as we go along, but yeah, I did feel like they were kind of sidelined in this one. Peter Davison as the Doctor. Well, Peter Davison is pretty good in this story. I don't think it's his best performance, and again, he's still got those breathing problems. I know I take the mick and I laugh about it, but he always sounds like he's out of breath. I just, that's what I get from it. But his performance as the Doctor is very good, and it's very commanding. And again, the moment when he says goodbye to Nyssa is very nice. Turlough, played by Mark Strickson. I think Turlough's good in the story. Again, the story focuses on him in the beginning, and then they kind of forget about him for a bit while he's stuck in the ventilation shaft with Tegan. Every so often, they'll cut back to Turlough and when he's talking to the Black Guardian, and we actually get to see the heart of the TARDIS for, I think, the first time. I don't recall us ever seeing the heart of the TARDIS before, but I liked seeing that here. It was an interesting visual, and yeah, I do feel sorry for Turlough. He's got quite a bit of a struggle going on, and it's, I mean, of course, yeah, he intentionally sabotages the TARDIS, but he's under influence. He's being controlled, so he doesn't really have a choice. Otherwise, he's going to die. So he's not doing it because he's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he wants to save his own life, and he doesn't want to kill the Doctor. You know, I mean, he even admits that. He's like, I don't want to kill the Doctor. Like. And at the end of the story, he's trying to get out of this, but he can't. And the story sort of ends on a cliffhanger with Turlough, again, being taunted, and the Guardian is still saying, you know, kill the Doctor. Just kill him, you know, for God's sake. So the tension in the story isn't lost. I do think, I mean, occasionally the pacing slows down a bit, but it's not too bad. It's not like Arc of Infinity, where it's boring that I can't get into it. It is better paced than Snake Dance, I would say, but there are just a couple of moments where it does dip a little bit, but nothing major. For the most part, the pacing is quite brisk, actually, and it moves along well for 4 parts. And yeah, I don't have a huge amount to say. I quite like the story, and I think the production design is very good. This story could be argued as being somewhat serious, and it could be lacking some light relief, which is fair enough. I can understand if you prefer a story which has more light relief, then I'm sure you'd find another one more suited to you. But this is quite, I suppose, a little bit dark, a little bit grim in places. But the makeup on one of the victims of leprosy looks really, really good, really effective. So it looks all real, and you really do believe it. But I don't think it's anything amazing. I don't think the story is groundbreaking, but I think it's a good story, and I think it's got a couple of issues, but that aside, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. So I'm going to give Terminus an 8 out of 10. Yeah, not a huge amount to really say with this one. Actually, the music for this one was a lot better than Mordred Undead, actually. I don't know if I mentioned in my previous review, the music for Mordred Undead, I wasn't keen on it. I thought it was a bit too jovial in places. But yeah, so good direction by Mary Ridge, and good script by Steve Gallagher. So yeah, and bye-bye Nyssa. Been lovely knowing you. Okay, so as we plough through season 20, we next come to Enlightenment, which is the third and final story of the Black Guardian trilogy. So, yeah, until next time, thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS 11. See you soon. Bye for now.